Trey, love and peace. Hope everything's going good for you guys. For today's message, I want to cover why are we a byproduct of our choices? We are a byproduct of our choices and not a byproduct of our environment. Despite what many like us to believe, they indicate that we are a byproduct of, the circumstance, situations, and events that we live in. Now, yes and no. Yes and no. Because we always have a choice. The problem is that as we're growing up, we don't realize that we have a choice. As we're growing up, we don't realize that we have this great power within us. Okay? And what happens is that we are constantly making choices. Constantly making choices. Okay? You're always making a choice. You're always saying yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. Every single time. It happens when you go to the store. It happens when you're buying a car. It happens when you're buying clothes. It happens all the time. You're always making a choice. The difference is, excuse me, the difference is that a lot of those examples I just gave you are conscious choices. The reason why we're always making choices and we're usually unaware of it is because the subconscious mind is choosing for us. The subconscious mind already knows if it wants something, if it does not want something. The subconscious mind already knows if something is going to work out, if it's not going to work out. And the reason why it knows it's not going to work out is because it knows that subconsciously you already chose no. So therefore, it's going to fulfill that dominant thought, which is a vibration of no. No, I don't want that car. That's not the one I want. Maybe the loan doesn't fall through. And then all of a sudden you see a car like, yep, that's the way I want. And everything just fall through. And it seems like flawless. Almost like you did nothing. You just showed up and it was given. And that's because subconsciously, again, you already decided that was what you wanted. And a lot of people may say, well, how come I got this car? I didn't really want this car. Well, you know what? You did. You did. The only reason you don't know, because again, subconsciously, you made that choice. The reasons behind why you chose that car, that's a different story. That would take something going deeper and deeper into your psyche to kind of figure out why. It could be an attachment or memory to something from your past life or a family member or whatnot. But that's for another recording, okay? So you gotta make sure that you are aware that we are always making choices, and that the power of choosing is always in effect. Okay? That's why you really have to be first aware of it, and the way we become aware of it is by studying this information. We want to figure out how something works or why something happens the way it does. You have to find the cause of it all, the understanding of it all, and then comes the clarity of it all, and then you can have it in the forefront of your mind. So we are always choosing. Now you know that since the beginning, you've always been choosing. Okay? And so, what do we do with that information, though? Well, we start learning to choose consciously. We start understanding that in order for us to start utilizing this great subconscious mind that's always choosing for us, we have to learn how to program it. Program it so that as it's choosing, it's always going to choose something that is in perfect harmonic balance with our desires and wants. Okay? And of course, we already know how we do that. We do that through confirmation, affirmations, through visualization, mirror techniques, meditation. Okay? And there's so many other different techniques. It's any technique that helps with the programming of the subconscious mind at the different layers is what we want. When I mean different layers, meaning you got the alpha, you got the beta, you got the theta, you got the delta, and so on and so on. These are the things you need to be able to understand. Being able to get to tap into that part of your subconscious mind. Being able to really masterfully learn how to open up the door or the gates to the subconscious mind. Because we spoke about this before, where the subconscious mind is what is the bridge or the doorway to your spirit, to source, God, universe. And that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be able to connect to. But that takes being able to program yourself. When you can program your subconscious mind at will, that's when you're going to have the greatest changes and the greatest results. Because, let's face it, consciously, we're always dealing with a whole bunch of different things. We're always dealing with a whole bunch of things. We're always dealing with, work, family. We're always trying to overthink things. Subconsciously, you're thinking about a whole bunch of different, totally different, bunch of circumstances. So why not have the stronger part or the greater part, the dominant part, the part that's responsible for manifesting or allowing or changing your life or creating paradigms, belief systems, habits, what's responsible for that? Why not have that working for you? And the way you do that is, again, utilizing those techniques that we talked about: affirmations, visualization, meditation. Learning, the highest way will be through feeling. Learning to study vibrational frequency. That'll surpass all those other techniques. In the beginning, I used to do a lot of meditation. And my meditation was all about visualization. And sometimes I would feel it, sometimes I would not feel what I was trying to visualize. Affirmations, they're great. I love affirmations, still utilize visualizations. But I have noticed that, and I've used a lot of mirror techniques, all these other techniques too, but I've noticed that the greatest technique that was given to me by Source was learning to be like a tuning machine, to tune into the different vibrations that are out there, to learn how to soften myself, to kind of like soften my energy, so that I can sense, kind of like a spider web, so I can sense the vibration. Anything on that spider web, I'm going to sense that vibration, and I'm going to be able to know or tap in to that frequency. And that's very beneficial, because as you tap into the frequency, that's when you're able to tune in and align yourself with your desires and your wants. Okay? And if you know what the feeling of the vibrational frequency of abundance is, you can tap into that. Certain vibrations are different. Certain vibrations are harder to tap into. And I think they're harder to tap into, not because they're necessarily hard as in the fact that it's impossible. I don't think so. Because I've come to find that as you learn things, they become simple. And then you're like, oh, I can do this. And you do it easily. I think the reason why things are difficult and those frequencies are hard to tap into is because still we have a belief system built in our minds. Again, going back to the subconscious, built in our minds that still is residue from our past belief that it is difficult. So what I have learned is, if I'm not seeing the results, or if I feel resistant, or I feel any form of resistance to what I'm allowing or manifesting into my plane of existence, into my reality, then I've learned to feel that resistance, and I'm like, okay, well, there's something there blocking. There's this form of resistance. There's still some form of doubt. And what I do is, at that point, is I start, instead of focusing out, I start to go within. I start to change my paradigm. I start to change my belief system. And as I start working more on that more than anything. And what I've come to notice is that when I least expect it, I just keep doing it. I keep working on it, and I don't question how long or when do I quit. No, I just keep doing it till I get what I asked for or greater than. And so I've noticed that as I've been progressing with these techniques and this form of approaching, removing blocks and learning to tune into what I want to, I've learned that I'm able to create new paradigms, new paradigms, new habits, new way of thinking. And these new ways of thinking, these habits are in alignment with the characteristical traits or the belief system or the reality in which I exist, where I have those things that I'm asking for. And that's, another way to say it is like this: learn to become the individual that would have that car, that would have that relationship, that would have that house. Learn to become that individual who can walk into a room and command respect, can command attention and admiration in a loving, humble way, where people just want to hear your words, people want to talk to you. If that, I'm just giving an example of this, but if that's what you want, then become that first through the constant changing of the mindset, okay, of the building of the new self through changing and creating the new paradigm. And we know that paradigm is a multiple of habits that create who and what we are. That's why you see in a lot of religions, every time they find themselves, they literally receive a new name, because that person no longer is that original person. They become somebody totally different. But when you apply these things, you will literally change the way your subconscious mind is programmed and how it works for you, which is what this video is about. Learning to get your mind to work for you, your subconscious to work for you, so that as you're going through your day, your subconscious, or even when you're awake, when you're sleeping, your subconscious mind is going at it, putting out, programming itself, vibrating at that frequency, so that it can attract your desires and wants into your life. And that is basically how you get your subconscious mind, to choose for you what you choose to be in alignment with. Okay? It's a different way of doing things. Totally different way of, instead of banging your head against the wall, you're just going in here, doing what you programming that mind, and then it just changes over that. Once that new paradigm takes hold, the outside, it overflows inside. What you believe inside will overflow. It will be a mirror reflection, reflecting outward, and all the circumstance, situations, and events, people, everything would just start to unfold and match that frequency of who and what you are. Okay? To give you another example, if you're like somebody who is just like the vibration of becoming a major drug addict, and you get caught in the drug addict, and you get caught up in that life, when you look, we all know that what's the kind of people that usually hang around them is you usually don't have a support system. You usually kind of like you seclude yourself from people that are trying to be supportive to you. Some people get to the point where they're frustrated and they just kind of like quit. You maybe have one or two people that still believe in you, and it's just a struggle. It's just a sad thing. And you see yourself, those people are usually surrounded more with either drug addicts or people that are just not very nice people. But also you see these people, you see them a lot, surrounded by, unfortunately, the legal system, law, court systems and stuff like that. But that's a byproduct of who they've become inside. Now, the wonderful thing about that is that if they were to choose to receive help, and they had, they started making those choices to change, the same way they got there by making choices, they can get out of it by making choices. And I'm not saying it will be an easy trip. I mean, like what part of life is easy, but you would start to be able to return to a life and even have a greater life. You know, there's stories like that. People have done it, you know, many times. But the point of these examples is that it is all in here and it is all possible. And isn't it better to know that that the possibility of change, or the possibility to have the things you desire exist? Isn't it better to know that than to not know that? So again, we are always making choices, and you have to learn how to utilize your full power of the faculties of your mind, conscious and subconscious, to work for you, so that you can be a winner, so that you can win all the time, when you're asleep, when you're not asleep, when you're conscious, when you're not conscious. And so it always, like I said, it all comes back to that we are always choosing. Is it fair that, just to touch base on this, and I'm going to call this a day, but do you think, is it fair that we grow up in our situations, circumstances, and we're not aware that we're constantly choosing, so therefore it seems to us that we're a byproduct of our circumstances? I'm not, who's to say what's fair or what's not fair? That's not for me to judge or to say, because there are greater forces within everything that we're going through and experiencing. Some believe that we made choices to live the life that we have now. Some, you know, you have to believe what you want to believe. But the most important point is to get past that belief, whether it's fair or unfair. And someone once said, we all have sad stories, so what? What are you going to do now that you are aware that you have the power of choice? Are you going to continue to say the same story, or are you going to go out there and get what belongs to you? Okay? So as always, this is Ray. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Leave me a couple of comments. I would love to hear from you guys and communicate back and forth with you guys. Give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. It's always love and peace.